Hello everyone. Okay, so I don't know why, but this morning I woke up with this idea in my head about the transfers, the so-called transfers. You know what I'm referring to? The transfers are what now the United States uses that word to refer to the soldiers who have died in battle in Ukraine in this instance, and they are brought home. Now you remember how, when soldiers are brought home who died in battle, okay, and they have the coffin, the casket, and you have the flag and everything, and we have all seen with how much ritual and respect then, to soldiers will fold the American flag and give it to the family and so on. Now, you might say, well, this is not the case because it is not official. Then, this country, as the West, is not sending soldiers there. At first, we heard that there were mercenaries and they were responsible for whatever they wanted to do, but the country was not responsible. But more and more we are hearing that, yes, of course, there are people there, instructors and contractors and, assessors and advisors and supervisors. But sometimes in videos we see soldiers with the flag, not of the Ukraine, but the flag of their country. You have seen it, the flag of the United States and France. And, so I don't know what the situation is there, but we do see reports that, Russia has hit this particular base where lots of um, foreign experts are there. In other words, people are dying there, but we don't hear what happens afterwards. Where are they buried? And if they are coming home, how are they coming home? This is what they call now transfers. That is probably why you see transfers. Well, transfer could be anything. Hopefully they're not left there in the fields, yeah? So they're coming home somehow, I'm sure. But we don't hear about it. I just woke up with this idea in my head. Anyway, that was something serious, but now I want to move on to something that perhaps is not that serious, and that is another thought. Why does President Biden shout so much when he speaks? Is it a question of age that when we get older we shout more? Perhaps we don't hear as well. But whoa, whoa, whoa! Why does he talk like that, yelling and hollering? Whoa, 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 whoa! I don't expect politicians to talk in, 10-syllabic sonnets or anything like that, but it's horrendous. Oh, oh, can someone please tell him to speak normally? Yes. I heard that Putin burst out laughing when they told him about what Meloni, Prime Minister Meloni of Italy, said. And they were reporting, this was serious people who were reporting it. They had been told, anyway, I do believe it. And what did she say exactly? She said, quote, if Russia does not surrender, we'll bring her to her knees. Oh. sharp-tongued women. A sharp tongue doesn't make up for lack of reasoning or intelligence or wisdom. Something that women do a lot. Meloni, Vandelea, look at the whole spectrum of these beauties. Kaya Kallas, Abelina, whatever, German girl. Kamala Harris. Yep, yep, yep. Talking and not saying anything. You know what, I think I told you this before. You know what Leonardo da Vinci said? This is 14th century. He asked, why do you think that women are always knitting? Question. Answer. So that they can think about something while they're talking. That is what Leonardo da Vinci said. But men will push out their chest and, and women start yapping. Can they please shut up? If you have nothing to say, just don't say anything. I just get upset. But you're right. But I don't want to just. I have talked so many times about women and how disappointed I am that we have these specimens there. But men too, I have to be careful because, I told you that YouTube is very sensitive now about the US election and the names and this and that. Anyway, they can bring this down. It's nothing important. So, but I just wanted to. I was looking at John Kirby, who is an admiral, and he's also the spokesman for the Department of Defense in the United States. And whenever I see him, from the very beginning, he always tells so many lies. I mean, he treats people like fools. I mean, he's telling you the opposite of what you're seeing. And he says it kind of with a straight face. And I could never take him seriously because he reminds me of Dick York. Who is Dick York? You remember, no, you probably don't remember because you're all so young. In the 60s, there was this TV series called Bewitched. And it was just fun, okay? And this woman, who was a very attractive woman, I don't remember the name of the actress now, but if she wanted to move things or do the cooking or whatever, she would twitch her nose like this. I don't know how she did it. Anyway, and there was a husband and a mother-in-law who was also a witch. But anyway, the guy who was a normal guy, the husband, his name was Dick York. Terrific actor. And to me, John Kirby looks exactly like him. After Dick York, there was another. He was in the very early 60s, and then there was another one, Dick Sargent. Why are they all called Dicks? Anyway, but Dick York was the first one. You look at Dick York and look at John Kirby now, and you see they're brothers. And blinking, I have always said, oh, my hair. You remember that movie, Brother, Where Art Thou? Or Who Are something like that with John Clooney. It's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. I think I've mentioned this before. And he's very worried about his hair all the time. And he goes to bed at night with a hairnet to protect his hair. And the first thing he says in the morning is, my hair, this is This is what I think about when I see blinking. When I see, is it Jack or Jake Sullivan, the other one? I don't know. I think of a ballet dancer. He's so thin and a long neck, and I think of men who look like men. You know, you know what I mean? Orban looks like a man. Erdogan looks like a man. It's not a question of size either. Putin is not very tall, but he looks like a man. I see these guys, and there is man. I see man, man. That's what I see. It's like there is something about them. Their virility stands out. I see them, man, and well, I'm in my 70s, but I'm not dead. But I don't see man when I look at this Sullivan guy. What? Anyway, so they were all so they were all there. The NATO countries. Oh my gosh, they're all actors. They're actors. I was looking at them like that, and when President Biden said, "And now I give you a man um, with all the courage and determination," President Putin, and they all applauded. I don't know that I said this at the beginning. I was amazed. Anyway, so I see them all applauding there, and I say, they look like the Kings of Mambo. That is what the Gypsy Kings. Ah, another thing, Facebook and Instagram, I just heard, will not allow the word Zionist anymore. Why? They'll ban it. Why? Because you remember at first, those of us who didn't know the difference or thought it was the same thing, and then we learned, oh no, it's a different thing, Jewish is the religion, Judaism, and Zionism does not necessarily, you can be a Zionist and be atheist, for example, and so we learned that difference, and now they want to do away with the word Zionist. So what do they want us to use for those people who are managing Israel and they could be atheist? I'm confused. Anyway, it's part of the whole thing. All right. Also, I was listening to some commentary and I just realized that since the fall of everything starts with the fall of the Soviet Union. Okay. The neocons in the United States started this project, which was called the New American Century Project. And they spoke of full spectrum dominance. The idea was that they would be the only superpower, hegemon, dominant power in the world, and they would actually eliminate any nation that dared jeopardize that hegemony over the whole world. They were that confident, that self-assured. And there was a general, and I was listening to a commentary, and the person who was quoting this general said, I don't remember his name, but it was said, and what I'm going to say now, it was said, and it's actually a very famous quote that people in power know about. It is quoted often. And what did these generals say? Literally, he said, every now and then we should get some shitty little country and throw it against the wall so that everyone understands we mean business. Let me say it again. Every now and then we should get hold of some shitty little country and throw it against the wall so that everyone understands we mean business. And that seems kind of peculiar because today they cannot even stop the Houthis in Yemen. So I looked at what had been happening about this project, the full spectrum dominance. Take control of Syria, that failed. Take control of Libya, Iraq, failures. Hold on to Afghanistan, failed. The control of the Ukraine, that is failing. Regime change in Russia and partitioning of Russia, which is a project that the British Empire, the English Empire had since the 18th century anyway. Partition it, that is not going to happen, I don't think. Regime change in Belarus, the coup failed. This was about 2 years ago, you remember, and then Belarus came closer to Russia. Regime change in Kazakhstan, it failed. Regime change in Chechnya, Chechnya, that failed. They came close now to Russia, part of Russia. Regime change in Turkey, I'm saying regime change was, attempted coups. That failed. That was about 4 or 5 years ago, right? Georgia, the color revolution there, 2008. Another try about, 3 weeks ago, failed. Hungary, actually what happened in the French election with all those groupings coming together in order to defeat this other country, that was tried in Hungary, that failed. In order to get rid of Orban, that failed. This thing about seizing the assets, 300 billion Russian assets, that doesn't seem to be to go ahead, because Saudi Arabia actually said that they will drop the 800 billion that they have with the Federal Reserve in America. I don't know how much they have in European banks, but because this would be the using of these funds would be an illegal act against international law. It would be really piracy, if you think about it. So anyway, so it seems that what the West has been doing for these last 25, well, before that, but certainly since the fall of the Soviet Union, since the United States became the sole dominant power in the world, all these we didn't know. Did we know that there were coup attempts in all these tan nations? There was Gerald Celente. He's an Italian American, and he's really funny. And he has a YouTube channel thing for only about 20 minutes or so, but he's really funny. And every Wednesday he has Judge Andrew Napolitano there. They're obviously very good friends, because Judge Andrew Napolitano has his own show, and but at the beginning he was always there on Wednesdays, and he continues to do so. Anyway, this one time Gerald Celente is he gets angry. I think it's a little bit of a show, but he gets angry about these politicians. He's the one who said, "If everything else fails, they take you to war." Yeah. And he's always shouting about the politicians. And one day, he was talking to Judge Napolitano, and he said, I don't know what he was talking about, but he was talking about these countries in Eastern Europe and southern Russia, and he was saying, um, Kazakhstan and Dagestan and all these Tan countries, and Judge Napolitano said, well, yes, because they finish in Tan, because Tan means land. So it's the land of, and the land of. And he said, oh, okay. He said, so guess where we live here in the States? We live in Pakistan. That's what he said. He's a character. Anyway, I leave it at this today. Okay, thank you for listening again. Bye-bye.